Donkey Kong 64 is a mixed bag, especially when it comes to how people look at the game. Some say it's an objectively bad game, and the arguments they provide do in fact have fair points. Still though, I love this game to bits. It might be because I played this game as little, so well, I guess nostalgia is a huge factor here for me, but even if that's the case, I do love it still. Donkey Kong 64 is a collectathon game. A game where there is a whole lot to collect, and you play as 5 different Kongs to collect bananas, banana coins, blueprints, banana fairies, and the main collectible of the game, the golden bananas. Functioning similar to the stars in Super Mario 64. Some like that, and some don't. And while I truly enjoyed the game and all it has to offer in both the gameplay as well as atmosphere and absolutely fantastic music, there are some things that do bother me. So here are 3 things I'd like to see changed in a hypothetic Donkey Kong 64 HD remake. There are many puzzles to get the different golden bananas in a game. If you want to get them all, there are 200 of them for you to collect, so variety in how you get them is important in order to keep the game interesting all the way through if you want to get all 200. However, more than a few golden bananas are hidden behind so-called bonus barrels, where you need to complete a minigame in order to receive the golden banana. Now, this doesn't sound all that bad on paper, but the problem is that many of these minigames are repeated over and over, and often either really easy or they are ridiculously hard. A minigame called Beaver Bother is basically broken, where you need to chase beavers down a hole, and often they will just walk to the edge and don't fall in, making it hard on an unfair level. What I wish they would do is to balance these minigames better, making the easier ones harder and the harder ones easier, as well as putting the easier ones on the early levels and making them progressively harder as you play through the game in later levels. In addition to this, more variety would only do good. Not just having slight variations of previous minigames, but actually have more of the totally different ones. This would make each bonus barrel interesting because, as it is now, you eventually start to go, ugh, not this again, as you enter a bonus barrel, but with more variety and better balancing, each bonus barrel could feel like a little adventure on its own. One of the major complaints about DK64 is the awkward placement of collectibles. Each of the 5 Kongs are associated with a color, and each banana, banana coin, and so on has a color that only that respective Kong can pick up. You often find areas that has lots of stuff to do and stuff to collect for different Kongs, all gathered in one small location, meaning you have to backtrack there several times if you want to collect them all. And this is really debatable whether it's a good or bad thing. Personally, I like it. I'd much prefer it as it is, rather than having each Kong have its own huge separate area in the level, as that would make, or it would really give us a really feeling of separation. It would separate the Kongs from each other. As it is now, there are mixes of bananas, balloons and more of different colors, while different Kongs also have their own areas that only they can reach, and I think it's a really good mix, to be honest. However, I can definitely think of some placements that are rather odd, where instead of making me think, oh nice, I can come back here later on and explore with a different Kong and be rewarded for it, it instead makes me feel tired and think, why do I have to come back here out of all places? Some placements just make the flow of the game more tedious. And it's not just in collectible placements. Take Angry Aztec, for example, the second level in the game. There are buildings that has something for multiple Kongs inside to collect and do. But instead of having a change barrel where you change the Kongs inside of the building, you instead have to go back outside, then switch Kongs, shoot a switch on the building again, and then go back inside. I think this is a bit of unnecessary backtracking in my opinion, so changing up the level design a bit would definitely help the flow of the game. What I love about DK64, like I said, is the feeling of collecting stuff. There is so much to collect and do in this game. Each level is filled with not only things to collect, but a lot of different areas to explore. These levels are huge! The music is also phenomenal, but there's one major thing that takes away a lot of the experience, and that's not a design choice, but rather a hardware limitation. And that's the engine. I can't fully enjoy what DK64 has to offer as much as I want to because the engine in this game is horrible. Walking around is a pain, and as you turn around, sometimes the Kong will turn around in a huge 180-degree circle swing, instead of simply just changing direction right away. It doesn't feel solid or smooth at all. Walls are also not very solid and they are easily exploitable. The camera is a nightmare as it constantly wants to live its own life and turn around or get stuck behind obstacles. Aiming with your gun is not very smooth, the game has frame rate drops and the render distance is really short. You often have to walk all the way up to a cannon or a switch or other things in order for it to appear on the screen. This makes it a lot harder and a lot less fun to explore than it should be, as it's easy to miss a lot of stuff since you simply didn't walk close enough to it in order for it to render. This is my main issue with DK64, and it's unfortunate because if the game had been remastered, all this would have been fixed and would make it a whole different experience to begin with. DK64's design flaws aren't very big in my opinion, and I mostly really like much of what the game has to offer, but the flaws it does have are pretty much multiplied by 10 simply because of the engine, since that alone takes away so much from the overall experience and make the little flaws so much worse than they should be. Still, I really enjoy this game, and 100%ing the game is satisfying, while maybe not as rewarding as you probably wish it would be. But still, I like it for many reasons, even if many other people say this game is trash. So I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on Donkey Kong 64 and what you would do to see it changed or fixed. If you want to see my ideas for a Super Mario 64 HD remake, you can click on the screen right now to see it. And if you enjoyed this video, I would greatly appreciate if you could drop a like rating on the video as well. Maybe one day we can reach 100,000 subscribers. Let's try to reach that goal together. Thanks so much for watching, I hope you had a good time, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.